Come on, bro. Can't be serious. Joe Flacco, dog. Bro, Cleveland ruins everything. Joe Flacco, Jamar Chase going off. He didn't throw him 37 dang balls. T. Higgins, Yoshi Vaz, Chase Brown looking like Corey Dillon. And when did the offensive line learn how to block? They ain't blocked for nobody all year. We watched Joe Burrow get tore out the frame. Jake Browning get tore out the frame. T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward ain't get to the quarterback till late in the game. And then Joe Flacco was running the ball. This man is ancient. Bruh, I ain't like him since he came in the league and he was down Baltimore Raven. He'd have been the Cleveland Brown. He'd have been the Cincinnati Bengal. The man spent his whole adult life trying to terrorize the Pittsburgh Steelers. And right when we could take hold of the AFC North, be at the top of the dang AFC, he come and do this. The Browns ruined everything. They should have kept that man on the bench, backing up Dylan Gates.
Lane, that exit off the highway, it sneaks up fast. It sneaks up on you. So just I would save the jokes, especially when you see guys play at this level. Let's just start with that before we dig into the nuts and bolts of the game. In Rodgers, Hall of Fame, no doubt. And in Flacco, what are we looking at just in terms of sheer ability to throw the football?
Yeah, listen, I think when we were watching the game, you were talking about he's like a shooter, like an all-time great shooter. They don't forget how to shoot the ball.
Right.
This man does not forget how to throw the rock. Like, we can say whatever you want about Joe Flacco. He's a statue in the pocket and all that. But the one thing Joe Flacco is going to do, he's going to throw the ball. And now with the Cincinnati Bengals, he's going to get the ball to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Okay? When you have elite weapons like that, you're going to be in every single game. And the running game came alive for the Cincinnati Bengals. That was a hell of a performance for a guy who's basically been there a week.
Well, and if you go back to the second half of their game at Green Bay, Cincinnati went on this monstrous, like 18-play, 10-minute drive to get back in that game, but Green Bay had too much and they hold them off. Now on a short week, for, as you say, a guy who's been here basically like 10 minutes, to have this kind of a performance against this vaunted Pittsburgh Steelers defense, is this the type of thing, and you try not to be prisoners of the moment and all of that, but is this the kind of thing for this Bengal team that gets its third victory now with Flacco and this upcoming schedule ahead of the bye, Jets and Bears? Does this open your eyes to, now wait a minute, maybe there's a path for this Bengal team? Because I'll admit I was done. I thought they were finished. This changes my opinion. What about you?
Well, isn't that the perception of the league right now? Everyone is kind of jumbled and muddled together. And we know that Pittsburgh obviously has had
plays and scheme and this and that. You know what Flacco's smart enough to do? Say, where's one? And he had over 20 targets tonight. I mean, sometimes you don't have to be more clever than just giving your best player the chance to catch the football.
It's not plays, it's players. Like, you see that mutant out there that wears number 1?
Yeah.
Throw him the damn ball and just let him go to work. And you're right, Scott. A lot of times these coaches, they really start to outthink themselves instead of getting the ball to your best player. That's why Joe Flacco was traded to the Cincinnati Bengals, because you have two elite wide receivers on the outside, and they didn't have a quarterback to get them the ball. Joe Flacco can do that.
And I gave as much credit as I could on the highlight. I want to say it again to T. Higgins, just understanding situational IQ. If I go down here, we can bleed the clock and essentially leave Rodgers without much time. Ball was still in the air with a chance for Pittsburgh. It gets knocked down. For the Steelers that came into this 4-1 with a really comfortable cushion, how much of a hole does this pop in the balloon of them from where they were before this night started to where things sit now in the North?
Well, I mean, listen, you're playing against a division rival, and actually it goes back to Mike Tomlin, when he was talking about why in the world would the Cleveland Browns trade Joe Flacco within the
Broncos' beloved QB's coach already being linked to NFL's head coach, opening the Denver Broncos arguably have the most notable quarterbacks coach in the NFL. And other clubs have taken notice. Webb, 30, retired from his role as a backup NFL quarterback in 2023 to join Sean Payton's staff as a coach. Webb was essentially serving in a player coach role during his time with the New York Giants, New York Jets and Buffalo Bills, and Payton loves helping former players transition to coaching. Webb is beloved by players and coaches in Denver, and the Broncos gave him a big promotion and raise this off-season to keep him on Peyton's staff. He now has the title of offensive pass game coordinator and quarterbacks coach, but it might be hard for Denver to keep him around beyond the 2025 season. The Tennessee Titans are the first NFL team with a 2026 head coach opening, and Davis has already been linked to that job. I've got an interesting name for you that's a little off the radar right now, NFL reporter Albert Bree said during a recent interview with 440 Sports. And that's the quarterbacks coach in Denver, Davis Webb, who is extremely well thought of. Who's a great quarterbacks guy? iThin NFL Injury Tracker, latest injury news, fantasy implications as Lamar Jackson ruled out, Kyler Murray questionable ahead of Week 6, NFL injury updates live. Jump to a team AFC East, Bills Dolphins Patriots Jets AFC North, Ravens Bengals Browns Steelers AFC South, Texans Colts Jaguars Titans AFC West, Broncos Chiefs Raiders Chargers NFC East, Cowboys Giants, played Thursday. Eagles, played Thursday. Commanders NFC North, Bears Lions Packers Vikings NFC South, Falcons Panthers Saints Buccaneers NFC West, Cardinals Rams 49ers Seahawks. Lamar Jackson will miss his second straight game for the Baltimore Ravens as the quarterback continues to be hampered by a hamstring injury. Jackson missed his sixth straight practice on Friday. And the two-time NFL MVP will once again be replaced by backup Cooper Rush during the Ravens' Week 6 matchup against the Los Angeles Rams. Baltimore has its bye in Week 7, which would give Jackson an extra week of recovery time in hopes that he could return for the October 26 game against the Chicago Bears. Rush went 14 for 20 for 179 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions last week during a 44-10 loss to the Houston Texans, a defeat that dropped Baltimore to 1-4 on the season. Yahoo Sports TV is here. Watch live shows and highlights 24/7. Another regular starting quarterback who will sit out Week 6 is Brock Purdy of the San Francisco 49ers. A toe injury has kept Purdy off the field, opening the door for Mac Jones to step in for another week after leading the 49ers to 3 wins in his 3 starts. Jones, however, is questionable, as is dealing with left knee and oblique injuries. "I'm just getting treatment every day and working," Jones said Thursday, via ESPN. "I feel confident and just working through it day by day. That's all you can do. Upgrade to Fantasy Plus and gain your edge in player projections and much more." Other notable Week 6 injuries. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers trio of running back Bucky Irving and wide receivers Mike Evans and Chris Godwin have been ruled out. Irving has been bothered by foot and shoulder injuries, while Evans has been suffering with a bad hamstring and Godwin has a fibular injury that is in a different location than the ankle injury he sustained last season. He is considered week to week and isn't expected to land on injured reserve. Arizona Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray was back at practice on Friday after sitting out the past 2 days with a foot injury. Murray is officially questionable for Sunday's game against the Indianapolis Colts. Jacoby Brissett is Murray's backup. Dayas Noah Brown returned to practice. A quad injury has kept Washington Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin from the field this week, but head coach Dan Quinn expressed confidence he'll be available Monday night against the Chicago Bears. T. Higgins and Andre Iosivas could be Joe Flacco's main receiving targets after the Cincinnati Bengals announced that Ja'Marr Chase is listed as questionable with an illness. Head coach Zach Taylor said the All-Pro receiver began feeling under the weather on Thursday night. Week 6 buys. Houston Texans, Minnesota Vikings. Here's the rest of the Week 6 injury report. Denver Broncos Jonah Ellis, ribs, shoulder OUTG Ben Powers, biceps OUTDL Malcolm Roach, calf questionable W York Jets Michael Carter 2, concussion OUTWR Alan Lazard, not injury-related OUTCB Brandon Stevens, neck questionable LB JA Marcus Weston, groin questionable Los Angeles Rams at Rob Havenstein, ankle doubtful WR Tutu Atwell, hamstring questionable Bell Ravens Lamar Jackson, hamstring OUTWR Devontae Walker, oblique OUTLB Roquan Smith, hamstring OUTFB Patrick Ricard, calf out at Emory Jones Jr., shoulder OUTCB Chidobe Awuzie, hamstring OUTWR Zay Flowers, shoulder questionable WKSLB Derek Hall, oblique OUTG Odie Josh Jones, ankle OUTS Julian Love, hamstring doubtful CB Devin Witherspoon, knee doubtful CB Rick Woolen, concussion. Doubtful JA Sikasonville Jaguars Brenton Strange, hip out Dallas Cowboys Tyler Booker, ankle OUTWR CD Lamb, ankle OUTLB Jack Sanborn, concussion OUTRB Miles Sanders, knee ankle OUTWR Kayavonte Turpin, foot OUTCB Darren Bland, shoulder questionable CB Kylen Carson, knee questionable OT Johnny Cornelius, knee questionable CB Traven Diggs, knee questionable D Marshawn Nealand, ankle questionable WR Jonathan Mingo, knee questionable G Tyler Smith, knee questionable Sierra Lana. Panthers Herb Chuba Hubbard, calf out Ot Taylor Motone, elbow OUTDT Tershawn Wharton, toe OUTCB Caleb Evans, hamstring OUTWR Jalen Coker, quad questionable to J. Tavian Sanders, ankle questionable CB Mike Jackson, ribs questionable CB Chow Smith Wade, chest questionable LND Browns Michael Hall Jr., knee out Pittsburgh Steelers at Calvin Austin 3, shoulder OUTCB Jalen Ramsey, hamstring questionable W. England Patriots Arb Antonio Gibson, ACL Artolb Keon White, elbow OUTS Jalen Hawkins, hamstring Artolb Anthony Jennings, ankle OUTCB Christian Gonzalez, hamstring questionable LB Mart Mapu, neck hamstring questionable CB Charles Woods, knee questionable W. Orleans Fantias CB Isaac Yeardom, hamstring OUTRB Alvin Kamara, ankle questionable DT John Ridgway 3, shoulder questionable as Angeles Chargerserb Amorian Hampton, ankle OUTWR Darius Davis, knee OUTLT Joe Alt, ankle OUTRT Trey Pipkins, knee OUTDT Deshaun Hand, groin OUTFB Scott. Matlock, ankle questionable WR Quentin Johnston, hamstring questionable RG Jamari Salia, knee questionable LB Bud Dupree, hamstring questionable LB Denzel Perryman, ankle questionable Amaya Madop Hansel B Tyrell Dodson, concussion OUTS Elijah Campbell, quad OUTCB Storm Duck, ankle questionable C Aaron.